So today we are here to discuss about the basics of internet. I hope you have all seen the video in the portal, right? It is very, very important, guys, to know how internet works, how a web application works. At, at the final day, after this course, we should be able to develop a web app end to end. Okay. By the word, I mean end to end. What I mean is you have to develop the front end, back end, and at the same time, you should be able to manage database. This package is called as full stack development. And generally, nowadays, the scope for web development or web app development is so much because almost everyone on this globe, except a few thousands of people who are even now as they are staying as tribals and all, only those people do not have access to internet. Except those people, almost all of them, 90% of the people on the globe have access to internet. So how can we access them is by developing web apps and advertising ourselves or giving our data or procuring data, working on data. Everything works upon this web app. Okay. What do we use daily as a web app? We use some apps daily. For example,
Chrome is also a web app.
Chrome is a search engine. Chrome is not a web app. It is in our Google is a search engine. Chrome is the desktop app, or it is also a mobile app. But whatever we get in Chrome, okay, we get YouTube, we get email, we get our Gmail service or any other application, Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, whichever opens in the browser, all those things are called as web apps or websites. I'll tell what is the difference between a web app and website. So whatever opens up in the browser is a web app. Okay, cool. To get to that web app or to browse that web app, what we should need?
Website.
No. To get that website, what we should need? What do we need? A basic necessity.
Internet.
Yeah, internet. So we'll start from internet. Everything starts from internet. The web app or the development of web app starts from internet, so that we should be very clear about how internet works. What is internet? Okay. So let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So here we today are going to discuss the basics of internet and how internet works, how web apps are developed, what are all the technologies that we use to develop web apps, and how those technologies are used. Okay, these things we'll discuss today. So first basic thing to develop web app or understand the development of web app or to understand what web app is internet. What do you mean by internet? What is internet?
It is a network of devices connected.
Yeah, it is then networks of different kinds of devices. Okay, there are so many devices which are independent of each other, but how can we connect those devices is by internet. Okay, this internet provides the connectivity between different devices all over the world. Okay, then how do we get entry to this internet? How can we access this internet?
Yeah, we are www. We can access it.
What do you mean by that? That is not how we access or get access to internet. How your one device becomes a part of internet. How can you get into internet? For that, we have what?
Sir, modem?
No, we have internet service providers, which gives different IP addresses for different range of devices. All these internet service providers are geolocated. Okay, in India we have 3-4 internet service providers. In USA we have 3-4 internet service providers. Likewise, in all the countries we have different internet service providers, which gives IP or IP address to different kinds of devices, so that they become the part of internet. So getting that IP address for our devices makes us eligible to be a part of internet. Okay, so those are called as ISPs, internet service providers. These ISPs provides internet services or internet services to the devices by assigning IPs. So IPs are assigned so that each devices are distinguished between each other and they take part in internet. Actually, why do we need internet? Why internet got introduced or it was discovered?
To access data from different locations.
Yeah, to transfer data or to communicate between devices. Okay. Initially, internet was discovered for what purpose?
Sir, it was used for military purpose at starting.
Yeah.
Then it...
Yeah, correct. So internet was initially called as DARPANET or ARPANET for which was used basically for the defense purpose. Okay, in USA it got introduced where they could communicate between the machines. Machine used to communicate between themselves using this internet concept. Later it got very huge that nowadays each and every common man can use internet. Okay, so to provide this facility, nobody owns internet. Okay, no, like Google owns Google products. Microsoft owns Microsoft products. Facebook or Meta owns Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. But nobody can own internet. Internet is like an environment, right? So no, as you cannot own the air. So internet is in the air. You cannot, nobody can own, but there are some councils which govern how the internet service should be provided. What are all the norms and conditions to be followed to provide the internet services? Okay. So for that, we have some like MDN, W3, W3C. These are all some of the councils that are formed, which provides some rules and regulations for how internet should work or how we should use internet and everything. Okay. Then we have IP addresses. IP addresses are given to each and every devices to distinguish between them. There are mainly two kinds of IP addresses. One is static and one is dynamic. Can anyone tell the difference? Why do we use static and dynamic? Or where do we, for which we use static and for which we use dynamic?
Louder. For servers, we use static IP.
Yeah, for servers, which serves the data generally. For those which should be static or which should be permanent. So every day, if you keep changing the server's IP address, it becomes a mess in internet. So for the servers, the main servers or web servers which are there, those machines are given static IP to distinguish between those servers, and all other devices, our devices like laptop, mobiles, iPads, iPhones, all those things are given dynamic IP. What is the advantage of dynamic IP?
Cannot be traced.
You can change the IP address.
Can change
we cannot change the IP address, but what ISPs provides dynamic IP addresses. But what is the advantage of having dynamic IP, or what is the difference? Not difference. What happens when we use static IP and what happens when we use dynamic IP?
When we use static, it will not change. So anyone can hack that easily.
Correct.
Dynamically, no one can tell that. Because it keeps changing.
Yeah, static IP means the address is fixed. It's easy to hack. It's easy to track, right? So big servers have this static IP with all the measures that is taken to avoid these hackers. Okay, but we normal people, if every day our laptop gets hacked, our personal information gets hacked, what happens? So every day the IP address, or every time that we get access to internet, the IP address changes, so that it becomes difficult. It's really difficult to track the device's address if the address keeps changing. So how do you keep track? So the dynamic IPs are given to all other devices which use internet. Okay, clear? Any doubts? Any questions?
I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, suppose like, sir, I'm browsing, I'm connected to a Jio Fiber network right now, and I am surfing something, sir, in my net, and suddenly some other guy try to access my laptop. So it will connect to Jio router first, or like directly connect to my laptop through the same IP?
Sorry, I did not get the last part.
Okay, sir, the thing is, sir, I'm connected to a Jio Wi-Fi router right now, and I'm browsing some torrent files, sir, suppose some movie files,
Okay.
and someone from third party try to like, what is it, sir, hack my laptop.
Okay.
So does that person get my like IP address from JioBox or directly from my laptop?
It depends. Yeah, like even if he can access, or if he can hack the ISP, he can get your address directly from ISP, or your laptop IP is like that becomes the static IP, right? Even our laptops have some IPs, port numbers, everything. So those are static. But when you connect to internet, that IP is different from our static IP. Even our laptops can act as servers, right? You can create a server on your own local machine, and you can give response to requests. So that is different, and the ISP providing IP addresses every time that we get access to internet is different. Got it?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that next thing is the protocol that we use to communicate between devices. So this is the standard protocol called Transfer Control Protocol, or Internet Protocol, TCP IP protocol. How this acts is like you have data in one machine, you got to transfer that data to another machine which is connected to the network. Okay, the network is a basis of everything. So how the TCP/IP transfers the data is like it does not have the direct connection between that machine, one machine A and another machine like Z. There are in between B to Y machines through which the data should pass. This TCP/IP network, there are so many configurations, so many network like star network, so many I've forgotten. I had studied mesh network, yeah, correct. Mesh, star, and round, so many were there. Okay, so using different topographies, they're called as topographies. So different network topographies, the nearest route is found out, and data is transferred from one machine to another machine. And this transferring of data is called as data hopping. Data hops from one machine to another machine to reach the destination. So when data is passing through so many machines, there is a possibility of data sniffing or data getting hacked, or anyone can change the data, right? Anyone can hack the data and do whatever they want. And if they want to change the data or make the data fully corrupted, everything they can do. So to avoid this, TCP/IP implements the basic kind of security thing. Like it does not send the data in a whole. It chops the data into data packets. So it divides the data into data packets. It's like bits. As we studied, data is stored in bits, right? So each and every bit is called as data packets. And those data packets are released into network. Okay, it's not necessary that one data packet all the data packets follow the same way to reach the destination. So data packets are released to network, and that at last, where all the data packets are marked with source and destination, and also the number of, so this is the first data packet, this is the second data packet, this is the third data packet. So all those data packets can follow any route in the network and reach the destination. At last, in the destination, all those data packets are rearranged, and that destination gets the whole data. Okay, this is how TCP/IP works internally. So this is how the data is transferred from one machine to another machine using network or internet. Clear?
So this mechanism is followed only while data is transferred using internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can transfer the data using Bluetooth also, right?
Correct.
But that mechanism will be totally different than this.
I do not have any idea about how Bluetooth works or Bluetooth transfers. We should look into that.
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay, thank you. So this covers internet. Okay, next, using this internet, only machines could communicate to each other. Okay, but no humans were able to use that internet as we are using today in those days. So only machines, we have data in one machines. To transfer that data, we use TCP/IP, internet, everything, and data used to get transferred to another machine. So it was not in the human usable or human readable or human friendly format. Okay, to make this internet human friendly, to make humans use this internet regularly to transfer data, to communicate from one place to another, what is introduced is the web or World Wide Web. World Wide Web is a service of internet which provides so many functionalities like hosting websites, hosting web apps, by which using websites and web apps, we can communicate with the servers or other machines, get data from there or pull the data from those servers, manipulate data as we want or store data as we want, and do all the operations on data. As a developers, we should be very clear that whatever we work upon is data. You can you might have done some problems in Steps to Program Lab, right? What did you do in the last 8 to 10 programs? You check whether something is in increasing order, something is in decreasing order, something is equal, something has same. What is that something? Is data. You worked upon numbers now. Later, you work upon a large amount of data set where you check whether this data is in ascending order, descending order, is this data is in order, or should this be in some other order, or this should be stored in some other way. This should be pulled from the data source and projected to the user as user wants. Okay, whatever we do as a developer is to work on data, show data to user, take inputs or take data from the user, or perform the operations on those data, and then again store those data into database, fetch data from the database, then again perform some operations, and again show it in the user required form. Okay, this is what Google is doing. This is what Facebook is doing. This is what Instagram is doing, right? So whatever we do is, whatever we work upon is on data. Data is the center thing for which we should work upon. So in this, the World Wide Web is a service of internet which makes humans to use internet as easily as possible. Okay, so and some other services of internets are email services. Web service uses the HTTP protocol. Email services uses SMTP protocol. VoIP services, I do not know what protocol it uses. File transfer uses FTP protocol. There is a protocol called as file transfer protocol, and streaming services. Okay, all these services are of internet. Internet is the basis on which we have web services, email services, VoIP services, voice over internet, and file transfer services and streaming services. Clear? Any doubts? Is this clear till here? Why web or www got introduced?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you give an example of TCP/IP, like how they exchange data between devices? I'm confused, sir.
Yeah, you have machine A and you have machine Z.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to transfer data from A to Z. Okay. So you have data in A and Z machine called Z is the destination. In between, you have machine B, C, D, E, F, etc. up to Y. Okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
these machines are connected into a network. These are all inside a network. Now you have to pass data from A to Z. Now what happens is the kind of the protocol that we have implemented, or the TCP/IP, how it works or how it exchanges data. The data hops from one machine to another machine to reach the destination. A and Z are not directly connected. It is connected over internet or over a network. Okay. Now the data from A hops to B, B to E, E to G. Okay. Like this, the data hops from machine to machine and at last reaches the destination. How it knows that this is the destination? There is a label on this data. So this data is from A and this should go to Z. So machine B sees the data packet and reads the destination. Is the destination is B? No, the destination is Z. So it passes the data to next machine, which is nearby. Okay, like this, the data keeps hopping until and unless it reaches Z. When data reaches Z, it reaches the destination and it is Z. So this machine is Z. So it is the destination it has reached and it can read the data. Okay, but instead of sending the whole data at a time, due to security reasons, if you send whole data, there is a possibility of hacking the whole data. The whole data can get corrupted. To avoid this, the simple mechanism that TCP/IP uses or implements is it divides the data. It chops the data into data packets. So one particular data of 100 bits is chopped off. For example, is chopped off to 10 data packets of 10 bits. Okay, all these 10 bits need not take a single way throughout the network to reach the destination. It can read, one can follow B, C, E, and Z path, and second data packet can follow D, E, F, Z path. So like this, the paths differ for all the data packets, and it is secure. Even we can hack only one data packet. Everyone cannot hack all the data packets. So there is not a fear of hacking a complete data. If someone hacks, he can hack only a part of it, right? There is no use of hacking a part of it, right? So it's like tearing the data and scattering over the network and at last with the label of from and to destination. So the data is scattered and at last with the label, with the help of label, the data reaches the destination where the destination machine rearranges the data and reads the data. This is how the data gets transferred in TCP/IP. Got it?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, cool. So next is HTTP. As I told, Internet uses TCP/IP to transfer data from machine to machine. The web service of the internet uses HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is a wrapper around TCP/IP. It inculcates the TCP/IP protocol itself, but there is a wrapper around it. So which is used to transfer data from one machine to another machine using web apps or websites. Okay. So the way this works is really very, very beautiful, guys. What happens is, as soon as we enter a browser, okay, let me share. See, I have browser here. So what is this? This is a web page of Google. When you click on app, when you click on Chrome, this web app opens. Okay, Chrome itself is not a web app, but this search page of Google is a web app. Okay, so when you click on here, what did you do?
Search. Write the thing which we need to search.
We did an action, right? We did an action by clicking. So all the user actions are converted to this HTTP protocol request. And that goes and hits the server machine. And there in the server machine, the request is processed. If it needs to render some static web page, it sends back the static web page and renders it on the browser. If it wants to render some dynamic web app, it sends back the web page with some internal programming calls inside. Whenever you see, you click on here, right? It just went. You can see this is what is called as, what is this called as?
The URL.
Yes, URL. So once you click it, that click action is transferred into a what do you call that? I forgot. API call. It's called as API call or a request call. You are sending a request. So it goes to the server, checks whether this is there. I had searched this, okay, yesterday. So it searches for this. How it searches? It already has a series of, what is that called? It has a series of indexes. It's like a telephone directory. Okay, all the search engines have prepared this telephone directory. For example, Google has the index for this particular search. For these particular keywords, these are all the websites. It does not go and search in the search in the whole internet once you search. It has already searched, which is stored in the index, where for these keywords, these are all the websites to be shown. It has the links for all those things stored in the index. It just picks those links and projects it. This is how the Google search engine works. Okay, let's go by one. What is next? So HTTP is a protocol that we use to make requests from client to server. So we have got two keywords now, client and server. Okay, I wanted to have some images, but I did not get time to just pull out from internet now. Yeah. Good. You see, we have basically in web apps, we have two main entities. One is client and one is server. Okay. All your applications on the browser are all client applications. Okay. Which can run on your desktops, laptops, mobiles, iPad, anything, any other devices except servers. Those are all called as clients. And you have servers. What is there in server?
Server database.
Database.
No.
Processor.
No.
Information.
Database server is different. Web server is different. Okay. What do you think you have in server? Okay. When you click on here, okay. I click on here. Okay. What happened is the request went to Google server. Is there a database in Google server?
Yes, sir.
So,
Maybe yes. But what
requested
happened?
data present in the server.
Before going to database, what happened? What do you think something happened?
Sir, API calls.
Yeah, API call happened here. It went to youtube.com URL. youtube.com URL got hit in the web server and something happened. What is that?
The request go to the server. It will redirect to a particular file or something.
Correct. What happened here is I clicked on the button. This is the user action, which gets transferred as an API request. Okay. Application programming interface request, which hits some web server where some program is written. What does that program do? It checks for the user. Here in this particular scenario, it checked for my Gmail account credentials. It showed me my own Gmail account. Gmail account, YouTube, right? So this is what it does. It checks for the account, then it transfers or fetches the data based on this. So checking for the account and getting the data from the database is something which is happening in between, right? So in between these things happening, this is called as an application that is running on the server. It hits this particular program to fetch the data of one particular user from the database. So the data is transferred again to the browser with all these things in the request body. Clear? This is what is happening. So the client requests for some data with some URL. Server processes that request, fetches data if needed from the database, and then shows or sends back the response with the required data or processed data back to the client. This is the normal flow of a web application. Okay. So to interact with the server, what do we need? What do we need? Internet is the basic thing. Apart from internet,
ISP, sir.
without ISP,
Client.
yeah, you should have what? Client-side application, right? So you should develop some client-side application which is user-friendly, so that on a button click, some operation should happen, and the data should be fetched and come back and show those data again in the client app, right? So to do this, a client app should be developed. So to perform these particular operations, to listen to the client's request, some server-side application should be done. So, and to manage the data, whichever it is required to fetch or to show, or whatever is required for the application, the data, that data should be managed. That should be stored somewhere persistently. Every time I enter YouTube, some others data keep showing up. It's of no use. My own data, my own channels, my own subscribed channels, videos should come up, right? Every time I log into the email, the Gmail account or the Gmail, that the home page is also a web page. So every time I log into my email account or the Gmail account, I should see my own mails that is sent to my email address, right? To perform these operations, we have a server application which is always running on the server machine, and to store the data. Where my emails are stored, it is stored in my browser, but where it is stored? It is stored in some database, okay? So our server app fetches the data from the database on demand of the request. Then that request is fulfilled with the response by showing the actual data by performing some operations on data. Clear? This is the flow of web app. We have client-side application, we have server-side application, and we have database. Clear? Any questions?
No, sir.
Online guys, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So to do the API calls, we use HTTP request. Okay, HTTP protocol to make requests from client side to servers. Then we have browser. From where do we do this HTTP request? From browser. Okay, to make the web application user-friendly, these browsers got introduced. There are many browsers nowadays, right? Name some browsers.
Chrome, Safari,
Chrome,
Edge.
Safari, Mozilla
Microsoft Edge,
Firefox,
Edge.
Edge. So many others. I'm not getting some lion-faced.
Brave, sir.
Yeah, Brave. Yeah, correct. So these are all the browsers which helps us to make requests from client application to server. Okay, where the client applications show up. Always client applications, the web apps, client applications show up in the browser. Clear? Don't get confused with mobile applications. Okay, mobile applications are different. The YouTube itself, it is a mobile application when you use in mobile. But when you use in the browser like this in your laptop or desktop, it is a web application. Okay, there is a difference. You do not get notifications as you get in your mobile. So notifications are pushed from, but the server side application is same, but the client side application, the implementation, the technology stack differs. Okay, YouTube I think is built on Angular in the front end. In the back end, I don't know. Google uses Angular, guys. Your Google page, all those things are built using Angular. If you take Facebook or Instagram or Netflix, Netflix is built on React. Facebook is built on React. Okay, so some technologies we use to build the applications on front end. Okay, for which we need browser to display that. We may write code, we may write anything, but if you do not have browser, your front end applications do not show. Okay, then to help people to get into internet, browser provides the way for humans to get into internet and to search for data, get data, and communicate. Clear? Next come web server. Browser is the client-side application. Web server is the server-side application where a server machine is there. Inside a server machine, there can be multiple web servers, and each web servers can have the capacity to do different things. Okay, for example, take your Google itself. When you hit Gmail, when you hit this link, let's close this. You have the link here, right? When you hit this link, it may go to separate server, but when you hit this link, it may go to separate server in the same server machine. Okay, in the same server machines, there might be different web servers listening to different requests. Okay, in my local machine itself, I will see when you keep developing the web apps. Okay, when you create a React application, it will be listening to port number 3000. Okay, when you create a Spring Boot application as a server-side application, it will be listening to port number 8080. That port number defines the web server port. Okay, so this is how, as the client side, we have browser to make request, To receive requests in the server side, we have web servers, which listens to the request for the from the users. Clear? Any doubts?
Sir, can you explain like 8080 port again once more time?
You will understand it better when you start developing. Okay, we have different ports in our local machine itself. Port number 3000, 5000, 5050, 5030, 8000. So all these ports are used to listen different requests. We can use, okay, we can use these different port numbers to make different API calls to different servers. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
We will not create web servers. Web servers are already there. But when you want to host your server-side application to some there are some hosting platforms like GoDaddy, Vercel, like those. If you tell I want to host this, they will host that on the web server and gives you the address of that. I'll come to that. Okay.
Does browser have the web server?
No, browser is browser. Browser is not web server.
So browser contains any server, any kind of server which.
No. No,
okay.
Browser is an application running on your local machine as any other application run. Like you have what? You have Visual Studio Code. It's an application, right? You have Java. You have JDK. That's an application that runs on your local machine. Likewise, you have browser that is an application which provides a gateway to internet. Okay. It's a client-side application which can make requests to web server. Web server is different. Browser is different. This is here where the browser lies, here where the web server lies. From browsers, we do requests to web servers. Clear? Clear?
Yes, but if there is possibility of running the application both front end and back end in browser, I mean, without using a server?
No, not possible.
Okay. Okay.
Front end application is different, which is used to interact with user, and we cannot run the back end application inside the browser. We cannot. Okay, browser does not allow running the backend application inside browser, and it is not okay also, because always the backend server-side applications are connected to database, and all the data are sensitive. So just providing or allowing user to directly access database is not okay. Okay, that is why the architecture itself is like this: that you have client-side application, you have server-side application, and you have database. Never ever client will have the direct access to data. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Let's move forward. Then we have websites. So as the client-side applications, we have to develop websites. Okay. Before that, we have web pages. Different web pages form a website. One application. For example, what? Which application shall I? There were so many. Some application, common, which one should I take? Something bad comes up if I open some. Let me see. You see, for example, some website is here. Okay. Something comes up. We'll take Amazon. Okay. So this is the website. Once I search for Amazon and come into Amazon.in. Okay. Just delete all these things. See, Amazon.in is the URL. Okay. When I come here, these things opens. This has links. This is actually a, I don't know on which this built. This is not built on React, most probably Angular. Okay. Let me see Netflix. Clear about the browser? Clear about the server, web server? Clear about the web pages and websites? Clear, everyone? Online guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we have something called as URL. How can a client communicate something to server? Client can communicate to server or get the request or post the request using URLs. Okay. These URLs are comprised of what?
The link to particular data.
Yeah. These URLs are comprised of, yeah. All the URL patterns are, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It contains the protocol : IP address for that particular web server, then the port number of that web server, the site name, and resource. Okay. If you come back here, all these things, this apart from this /browse, all these things, you see HTTPS. HTTPS is the protocol. This is the server, web server address. Okay. This is the domain name. This is not actually, this actually includes, that domain name includes your IP address and port number. Okay. And also sometimes the site name. All these comprises the domain name. What do you mean by domain name? Why do we need that domain name? Earlier, before this domain name, the IP addresses used to be like this: 1.127.222.some0. Like that, you have some numbers and you have port number, and then you have the resources and other things. Okay. How can we remember all these things? It's difficult to remember all these things for so many websites, right? To resolve this, the domain names naming system came. Okay, where we get the name for all these IP address and everything. Everything will be there hidden, but for that a name will be given by the hosters. If you have hosted your website on some web hoster platform like GoDaddy or Vercel is there, WordPress is there. So many hosting websites are there. Okay, if you host there, they will provide a site. As you want to buy the site and build some building upon that site. In the same way, you purchase the site in the internet, you purchase a site where that site is given a name. That name is called as domain name. Okay. So the domain name servers, what does these domain name servers do is they have all the list of domain names where each domain names are different from one another. No domains in the world are same to each other. Okay. So you have so many different domain names to each domains where you have your website hosted, where you have the names. Names are easy to remember. And to help the search of these domain names, our search engines came. Okay. Once if you type some keywords, all these domain names which have these keywords come up when you search in some search engine like Google. Okay. Clear? So IP address is of the server machine and port number is of the web server that is running on that machine. For example, if you consider, I think I have that. Let me pull up that application. Give me 1 minute, guys. If I show that, it becomes very clear, where I have a complete IP address and everything defined for my. You see? Not this setting, not this application. So okay, leave it. Yeah, you see. So this is my local server. Okay, I have defined a server application in my local itself, which is listening on 8000 port number. Okay, local host is the machine name. Okay, my machine name is localhost. Okay, and 8080 is the port number. /API//verify is the resource. Okay, HTTP is the protocol. This is the way we write a URL pattern. This is the URL pattern where your IP address, this particular thing specifies that course platform is built using React. Okay. Then comes search engines. Search engines, as I told, use domain name servers to search. Then comes the web app. I have given the full overview of how web app works. Okay. Next comes, we have client side, server side, database. Client does request, sends request to server using HTTP request, and that request hits the server, web server, where some application is written, and that application processes the request. If needed, fetches data from database, processes the data according to request, and sends back the response along with the data if needed. Clear? Then we have how the client-side application is developed. Where comes the role of HTML? Where comes the role of CSS? What is the use of JavaScript? And apart from all this, what is the use of React? Why do we want to learn React? Okay. As I told, HTML is the basic skeleton. I wanted to show an image. Can you see this image?
Yes, sir.
You see, HTML forms a skeleton of any web application. Okay. In the browser, whatever you see, you can see here, this itself is a website, right? So here should come the logo of this website. Here should come the search bar. Here, all these content should come like this. We should bifurcate the contents like this. Okay. So to form the skeleton, as we have the skeleton forms the format of our hand should come like this. This is the skeleton, right? Upon this, we have all the stylings of muscles and everything. So the clothing and neat design of a web application comes under CSS, which stands for cascading style sheets, using which we define the styles of a website. Just an HTML looks like this. It's a skeleton. If you want to make it beautify your website, you use CSS. So, okay, it should come here, but it should have the margin left of this much. It should come here. And after this, we should have space of this much. And search bar should come here. And every content block should have spacing like this. It should have a minimum spacing of this much. All these things are defined using CSS. Okay. Then we have something called as JavaScript, which forms the neural network in the front-end application. Okay. If you want to navigate from one page to another, or if you want to click, the handle of click. So I click here and I type here and I hit enter. This is controlled by JavaScript. Okay. Like, let us code a simple application. Okay. Shall we code? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
So basic application I'll go with. I open this with VS Code. Can you all see this? Dark pane is not visible. So I create one file called index.html. HTML files are created using .html extension. Okay, create this file, and Visual Studio Code gives us an opportunity or makes us coding easier. Okay, if I hit exclamatory mark and hit enter, this boilerplate code comes. This is the code that we have to write every time when we write an HTML document. This particular thing, this is not an HTML tag, but this specifies that this document is kind of HTML. Okay, and the HTML document starts from HTML open tag and close tag. This is the main tag of HTML where HTML starts. Inside HTML, we always have a head tag and a body tag. Okay, inside head tag, do not worry about these things. You will learn. Just a title. What does this title mean is whatever you get in the title bar. So this is the title bar. Where is that? This is the title bar. Okay, tab. Whatever should be displayed here is displayed using title tag. So simple. I save this, and whatever we need to display inside the browser, inside the browser body is coded inside the body tag. Okay. So I have one button. I create one button. Okay, and I add plus. Then I create one div tag. Okay, an empty div tag, and I initialize it to 0. Then I have one more button. Where I initialize it to minus. Okay, now I save this. So I want to display a button plus, and then I want to display one div which contains a division where we put numbers. If we press plus, then the number should increment. If we press minus, the number should decrement. So this is a simple application. So I just run this, okay? So I say go live. You see that simple app came up here, and we have plus, 0, minus buttons. Okay, so I just put it here, and I put the code. Okay. Now I want to style this. I want to give the background for whole body, and I have to style these buttons so that they come up in one single line. Okay, don't worry much about stylings. You have to learn these stylings on yourself by code. Okay, then I come here. I create styles.css, and I link that CSS file. We write we can write the styles in 3 methods. We can write inline styles, internal styles, and external styles. Inline styles means I can just describe the style here itself. Style and title, background color is aqua, and I save. You see the background color changed. Okay. If I want to border, I do not want the border. Border. Zip that border. Is not. See, the background color changed to aqua and border is none. Okay, this is called as inline stylings. We can give the internal stylings, means inside the head tag, we define what? We define style tag. Okay. Inside this, we select each and every, like I want to give background to the body. So I select body tag. These are called as CSS selectors. Body, and I give background color to this. Okay, I save. See, background color change. Okay, this is called as internal stylings. But these two practices are not good. What we use always is external stylings using a .css file. So for that, I have declared this styles.css. I'll just cut this, save, paste, and remove this. Okay. Now you have to link this external styles file to this HTML. For that, we use link relation style sheet and href to styles dot. See, I linked that body tags styling got it. So this is how we write HTML. This is how I write styles. Okay. Now let's see. Let's implement the functionality of pressing this button should increment this, and pressing this button should decrement this. Okay. How to do that? Okay. So I create one more file called index.js. Okay. Then I come back here and type button I just remove this and give class as plus, and I come back here, class as minus. Okay. This gives result is class result. So I come back here. Don't worry much about this code. I'm just showing how just our HTML formed the skeleton of our application. The CSS gave the beautification for our application. And now JS is helping us to provide the functionality for our application. We cannot do anything here. So whatever you do here, nothing happens, right? It's not interactive. To make the web applications interactive, JS or JavaScript got introduced. Okay. So if I do this, I can interact with my application based on my click, based on my interaction, the content of the web application changes. So this is the motto of JavaScript. Okay. So I do this. Const. Don't worry about the code. Sorry. Equal to document. See if it works.
So you have not linked the JS part to HTML.
Thank you. Huh? Yeah, this is the on click event listener. I'm not coded in vanilla JavaScript for so many days, guys. That's why. Just give me a minute. React makes all these things easier. So
Sir, can you please share the recording of today's class?
okay, I'll share it. So I'll go
Thank you, sir.
back. So we are getting that HTML collection. It should be an HTML element. Get elements. The system is still. Forgot to get. Function was there. This document dot query selector. Yeah. Okay. Right here. Okay. Selector dot plus query selector. I go back here. So there is an error. Event listener is not a function. Add it. See? Got it? So this is how JavaScript adds the interactivity to our web page. Got it? So this is the simple application which contains HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It is just to show how the HTML forms the layout or the format or the skeleton of our web page. What have we done in our HTML? A button. After that, a div should come. After that, another button should come. This is the skeleton of our web application. So to beautify this, we have the CSS. Okay, you can add more and more styles here. For plus button, you can add dot plus and dot minus. Okay. You can do this one thing. Wrap this up. Div. Container. Okay. See, got it like this. So plus, you keep pressing plus, pressing minus. Okay. If you want to style those buttons, width 20%, then background color, violet, then border radius. What happened? Got it? So this completes. So this is how we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to define a simple client-side application. Okay. Then we have React. React provides us to define the UI, means user interface of the client-side application more easily with efficient and faster development. Okay. Here we have developed 2 buttons with so many styles, everything. Everything comes as a library. React is the front-end UI development library, which provides all the necessary tools to develop a beautiful UI. Okay. React is the wrapper around HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which provides us to develop the user interfaces easily with more efficient and with it's an efficient application. It becomes an efficient application when you do API calls. You have different libraries to manage those API calls. You have different libraries to manage the data in the front-end application itself, like Redux and Axios for managing the API calls, everything. So React is a framework, is a library that includes all these basic technologies like HTML, JavaScript, and what? CSS.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. Any questions, any doubts regarding the web development, how internet works, how web application works, anything?
Sir,
Yeah.
can you share the sheet like where you have created JS file of
Which one?
class? The role of HTML CSS you created right just now.
That application. Yeah, I'll share.
Thank you, sir.
Any doubts, guys? Any questions? I know that it's a very long session. Wanted to complete all these things. Any doubts? Now are you with a complete mindset of learning React? Why do we want to learn React? We learn React in detail with Srikanth. Okay. Any doubts? No doubts?
Okay.
Everybody clear? Okay. Online guys, I cannot see you. I can see the faces at least here. I can
Sir, no
understand who's clear with what. Are you all clear with things?
Sir,
Yes,
ಅದು
sir.
HTML ಅಲ್ಲಿ
Record.
ಕೋಡ್ ಬರಿ HTML ಅಲ್ಲಿ
HTML ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ಕೋಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋಕೆ ನಾವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜಾವಾದ
ಯಾವ ಎಡಿಟರ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. You can use Notepad, you can use Notepad++, you can use Visual Studio Code, but for front-end developers, they prefer Visual Studio Code as the code editor. Okay. As we use Eclipse, very soon we'll be starting using Eclipse for writing Java code. Okay. In the same way, we can use Visual Studio Code to write JavaScript. We can write Java code also in Visual Studio Code, but the main thing is the way of packaging, using of packages and projects is different. We cannot create kind of projects and packages as we can create in Eclipse. Okay, that is why we do not prefer VS Code for Java, but it's a very, very nice code editor for developers who is going to develop the front-end applications. It has not given that much support for Java, but for any other languages like JavaScript, React, Next.js, Python, for everything we can use VS Code. It's a very beautiful, awesome. I really like VS Code than Eclipse. Okay, it's a very developer-friendly IDE. It's called as IDE. Okay, integrated development environment. It gives an integrated development. Okay, you can install VS Code and start coding HTML and CSS. If you want to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript in detail, you can refer W3 School's website. Okay, it walks you through step-by-step instructions of learning things in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, what you write in React is nothing but JavaScript. Just show you one React application. You see how I have defined so many MUI components. Okay, MUI means material UI, gives you inbuilt predefined components. Like, for example,
you have not shared your screen.
Okay, sorry. You see, this is the generally the React app looks like this, where you have public folder, source folder, and all other specifications files, package.json. This actually contains the specifications of your React app. Okay, just an overview. Then comes in the source folder, we have app.tsx. I have written this in TypeScript. So this app.tsx forms the entry point of as your main method forms the entry point for execution. The same way app.tsx forms app.js forms the entry point of your React application. Okay, you render components. These are called as components. You have what? Go back to source. Components. For example, I have button. Button is easy to understand. You see, this is how this looks like HTML, right? Can you see this? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, this looks like HTML, but it is not HTML. It is called as JSX. Okay, JavaScript XML script. Okay, so this is how you define the HTML or the layout of React app. In the same file, it allows you to write JavaScript. This is the JavaScript code you write to handle the working of that button. As I wrote the JavaScript code in a separate JavaScript file, but in React, it provides for the developers to write both JavaScript and HTML and CSS in a single file. Okay, which is called as TSX. If you write the React in TypeScript, you create files with extension TSX. If you write React with JavaScript, you create files with JSX, like button.jsx. So as I wrote button div. button element in HTML and styled in .css and wrote the functionality in JavaScript file. Here I have done everything here in the same file where I have written the button. To handle this button, I have written the JavaScript or TypeScript code. Then the CSS is given by the material UI. That library itself gives the stylings. You need not do much about or worry much about styling. Okay, this is how the React applications will. It's a very easy, very nice technology to learn in the present day scenario. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, do we have any sessions on Git?
On Git? Okay, I'll try. Sometime I shall give some sessions on Git. It's very important to learn Git. Okay, we'll do some sessions on one session. Basic understanding of Git is necessary and it is also helpful. And it's good to have basic understanding of. I'll talk to Vikram sir and I'll do some session.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Was this helpful, this session?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, please share the recording.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.